Tonight at 6, a huge fire engulfs a tower block in London. At least 12 people have been killed, dozens injured, and the death toll is expected to rise. Up to 600 people lived here. The fire broke out just before 1 this morning. Fire crews were on the scene just 6 minutes later.
We need to ring 999. There is a dedicated line for this incident.
Eyewitnesses say the flames engulfed the 24-storey building within 30 minutes, with people desperately trying to escape.
There was smoke everywhere, literally everywhere. There was people downstairs, the bits of the block, the cladding falling off the block. That was on fire. People screaming.
The fire was still raging as dawn broke, and it's feared many are still unaccounted for. The London Fire Brigade desperately struggled to reach the upper floors, but were repelled by the heat and falling debris.
This is a completely unprecedented fire. In my 29 years in the London Fire Brigade, I have never seen a fire of this nature, and I have seen many high-rise fires.
Residents are sheltering in nearby community centres. Some are missing family members.
kind of silent walk on the anniversary is very difficult because we have people here living with ongoing trauma and here to spread their emotions, and we have people here that are ready to pick up the fight. So trying to get a fine balance is always difficult between making sure that those who are ready to fight are ready and those who are ready to mourn are supported by those who are ready to fight. We have to make sure we keep that intact and we carry on looking out for one another. Not everyone's ready to step up to certain actions, but be there to support those who are willing to step up. I'd like to invite Karim now, who's going to speak to you guys with a few words. 52 lives and lost 4 years of this way. Grenfell Tower tragedy. Say that, please. Stephen Power.
Vincent Chigino. Fatima Al-Sahabi. Sakina Al-Sahabi. Isaac Powers. Ahmed Khan. Bertie Houghton. Baruch Houghton. Gary Maunders. Deborah Debbie Lambert. Maria Gabriella Burton. Forever in our hearts.
Sheila. Joseph Daniels.
Danny Patel. Marjorie Patel. Amal Abedin. Amaya Tuku Abedin. Anna Mahmoud Idris. Mohammed Tuku. Victoria King. Alexandra Victoria. Mary Lindsay. Khadija Say. Jessica Cabana. Forever in our hearts.
Rabea Babu. Khadija Kalufi. Forever in our hearts. Ali Nawar Jafar. Dennis Murphy. Muhammad Haj Ali. Jeremiah Lee. Here in the 72 days, never gets any easier, but it's what brings everyone here today. So I just want to thank you for coming out. Apologies for anyone watching online from other areas who would like to support. We purposely didn't want to attract the masses to organise a walk in such a short amount of time. To hold 15,000 or so people was extremely difficult, so it was a very tough time for everyone involved in organising silent walks. But it's a beautiful turnout. A lot of the community here, people from outside the community who still join. So a massive thank you. I know it means a lot to everyone who lives here. It's our way of kind of keep looking out for each other. And that's what we've got to keep doing. It's been a tough year and a half. With lockdown and new normals becoming apparent. So I just want to thank everyone who used their time during lockdown to stay creative, to keep putting pressure to using their social platforms to good use, making sure that the Grenfell lives forever. For those who took time off to focus on family, I don't want you to hold any guilt. We all have to do it, and many of us use this time to be able to do so. So don't hold any guilt. Your presence togetherness is always felt, no matter whether we're together or we're not. This is a message for the government, and it better break through. Regulate them before we regulate you. This is a message before instruction, and it better break through. Arrest them before we arrest you. They depicted us as simpletons and criminals, mind games despicable. Almost 1 million people in homes that are just not livable. An Arconic, Celotex and Kingspan still remain invisible. Are they invincible, or do they think we are pitiful little fools? We will not betray the dead. The government doesn't seem very worried about giving justice. They should worry about the justice we give to them. We find them guilty of facilitating social murder. We find the corporations guilty of corporate manslaughter. We find the government and the companies guilty of lethal negligence. They think that these companies do not have factories up and down the country still producing some of these materials. They think those factories can't get shut down. Shut down! This morning, Palestine Action, shut down! This morning, Palestine Action, shut down our Grenfell factory in Birmingham. And let me tell you this, and I know you're watching, it won't be the last.
Why do those in power think it's okay to neglect their duty of care? How can we heal when local politicians in RBKC and some so-called supporters think it's okay to slander us publicly? To add further pain to our suffering, we learn that many of the TMO and the RBKC staff who perpetrated the Grenfell atrocity are still being employed by the council. One employee covered up 19 safety breaches at Grenfell Tower and is now working on the council response to COVID. Madness. How have we allowed them to clearly employ divisive plants in a bid to divide and rule our community? Let me just say that one more time, please. How can we have allowed them to clearly employ people, bring them to our community who are not from our community in a plant to divide and rule? In what world is it fair or reasonable to let leaseholders fall into debt, mental anguish because of their failures? Is history going to repeat itself? How many more lives have to be lost before the changes we all need are made? Remember, 25 men, 29 women, and 18 children. Many of those lost were vulnerable, and many still are. Time has not made this any easier. We are sick of waiting for criminals to go through the courts. The struggle to pursue justice we deserve is exhausting and soul-destroying, but we do it because we have to. Not because we want to, because we have to. We have no choice. They put us in this position. We exist because of their non-existence. We exist because of their neglect. Well, here we are. What was lost on the 14th of June can never be returned. The grief at our core cannot be soothed. We have never lost sight of the fact that Grenfell affected people, not only in this community, but across the country. The disaster spanned the world. Thousands of homes are still unsafe, and lobbyists have ensured that the system protects the corrupt. We have seen how rigged this world is, how enforcement of regulations simply do not exist. We have seen how the crooks and killers from Celotex, Kingspan and Arconic gained regulations. Criminal frauds with murderous consequences. Arconic were warned of the dangers of mass death. The death toll was foretold, yet Arconic continued to market their product as safe while knowing it would spread an inferno. They knew. They knew. They gambled, and our loved ones paid with their lives. Remember that. That is why Grenfell United exists. That is why Grenfell United are here. That is why I stand before you. We exist because what was needed after the fire was not forthcoming. We exist because we know the horror that we lived through could have been prevented had they had just listened to us. We exist because people across the country are fighting the very same neglect and contempt that led to Grenfell. We exist because if anything is to happen that resembles justice for our loved ones, we will have fought tooth and nail for it. We knew we had to run a marathon to get anything close to justice. But let me tell you something, we will not do that on a treadmill. We will take the ground before us. We will fight for truth, justice and change. As Hassan says, all the money in the world won't bring back the world's barber. All the money in the world will not bring back the world's dad. So they will not distract us and have us chasing our tails looking for money. It is time to stand united. The government have deluded themselves. They think you do not stand with us, but we know differently. We want to see criminal prosecutions for what happened to us. We know that you are us and we are you. You need to see yourselves in us. Your fight is our fight and our fight is your fight. That's why we need to stand united. We want homes to be safe for human habitation. We want evacuation plans for those suffering disabilities like my uncle. We want to see the corruption, corporate greed and criminal negligence punished by law. The line between grief and rage is a thin one. Let them know that they owe a debt to every single one of us. And let them know we are ready to collect. Thank you.
The sadness of hearing all the names 4 years on is heartbreaking, I think, for many of us. But actually standing here and seeing everybody here after being absent for more than a year, I can't tell you how happy that makes so many of us. It's been very lonely, actually going month in and month out, where we felt as if our fight for justice has been forgotten. But seeing all of you here, I hope can actually send a message that we're going to come back together and we're going to keep fighting. The year, the 4th anniversary has taken place in the middle of a pandemic. In a pandemic where I think so many of us realized, like so many of us realized after Grenfell, whose lives actually matter. And despite this, we are still focused on actually demanding that we have justice, accountability and change. And we want, we're not asking, we're demanding that actually the government and those developers remove cladding from the buildings of the thousands of people across the country who are living in death traps. We say to the government, remove it now. Stop prevaricating. Stop your lack of political will, your indifference, and act now, or Grenfell number 2 is likely to happen. We also asking that actually all vulnerable residents in tower blocks, there is a very clear evacuation plan. Because this talks to the discrimination that actually vulnerable people, that working class residents, that residents from different cultural backgrounds face in not having clear evacuation plans. We are also asking that those companies which were revealed to us in phase 2 of the inquiry, those companies, Kingspan, Celotex, Arconic, and Ryden, that they are banned from ever working or any of the materials being used. On our hospitals. But also, we want to demand that we have change, that we get rid of the corrupt construction industry, that there is a change to regulations, that those people, and we know who they are. We know who they are. Whether or not they down the road, whether or not they in Downing Street, or whether or not they are part of big corporate companies, that they are held accountable, that they are prosecuted for what they did, for the needless death of our community. And we will get that, and our community will heal, and we will rise.
Let's make it normal. When Grenfell United ask us to jump, let's make it normal to ask them how high. We are here for the bereaved and the survivors first. The community falls second in this. But the community are what holds them together, and they hold us together. So it works hand in hand. So when Grenfell United lean on you, no matter the differences, no matter what you think, please make sure you support it. Because that's the way forward, that's the way for us to stay united, and that's for us, the way for us to actually find and seek justice. When you go home tonight, there's a video that would have aired on YouTube at 8 PM, so about now. Please go, share it, a few messages and stories from those bereaved and survivors. And just make sure that people, friends and family across the country and then across the world, keep them informed and let them keep this the name alive. We're just going to end on the final call for justice. 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 Justice.